Welcome to The Range, here with your host, Brandon Brown, and here with your sports panel, Wes Henderson.
One more week. Just gotta get through it.
The Honorable Chris Gallen.
Good week.
J.B. Brown.
Fun weekend.
And Coach Cleveland Spears.
20 days till graduation.
Yeah, there we go.
First topic on here, we were going to talk about the NFL draft. We're going to talk about the three teams that did the best, the three teams that they did the worst in your panel's eyes. We're going to start talking about the best with Cleveland Spears.
All right, Kansas City. Okay, there we go. Right, we got the right team this time. Kansas City taking Eric Berry. Gotta get that right, it's Zero Thomas. But I got him. I thought they kind of, I didn't think that, the Chiefs were going to go into a safety very early. I thought they were at least going to address some issues at running back and backup running back behind Jamal Charles. But really they didn't, and I was kind of surprised by that. But, Eric Berry, a very good pickup from Tennessee. He only really played a good, year and a half, really. He only showed up at the end of last year. Then, of course, last year at Monty Kiffin. But, he had a really good senior season. I really love, this kid brings some energy to that Kansas City defense. And I have to say, the defense may be well, but they picked well later on in the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, man. Not going with Cleveland State with Kansas City. They had a few good draft picks later on. They did pick up Dexter McCluster, one of the most explosive players in this draft coming in out of Ole Miss, and then they picked up Javier Arenas. So pretty much their first three picks were straight out of the SEC, and they were straight playmakers. Another team that I feel had a pretty good draft was Seattle. Going with Earl Thomas, and then later on they picked up Golden Tate. Seattle picked up a few playmakers in this year's draft, and not to mention Pete Carroll traded for Lindell White, and he also picked up Leon Washington from the Jets. So pretty much that running back situation, which has plagued them over the last few years, has been taken care of. And they're looking to take over that NFC West now that Kurt Warner is now retired. So, Gavin, what you think?
Top three teams. I really don't have top three teams. To me, the best team this weekend, Seattle, of course, off top. They did a lot in the draft. Second, my Oakland Raiders. Oakland really did a lot in the draft, especially getting Jason Campbell. No, they really good. They did good. And then third, I have I think it's a three-way tie between the Pats, the 49ers, and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Right there, all three of them.
All three of those right there.
Did real good this past weekend.
Especially Ravens.
I'm ready to see it.
Yeah, mine's definitely the Ravens after getting just still not in spots that they needed to work on, and getting some depth at both offensive and the defense side of the ball. Also hats off to your Raiders. They actually did an awesome job of getting what they needed.
For the first time in a while.
Tom Cable's going to be very excited about this, I think.
If he doesn't slap a bitch first.
Unfortunately, they did draft the fastest player in the draft again. But
it wasn't Al Davis's doing.
Exactly, but Jacoby Ford will find a way to get on the field immediately.
Shout outs to Al Davis. You've been getting credit all day long, pretty much, and all throughout the weekend, just how you handled the draft this whole time. And so it's been good props to you, man.
They threatened you.
All right. Now we're going to talk about the three teams that did the worst over the draft weekend. Cleveland.
I had to go with the Texans. The Texans, they kind of filled a void at the other, cornerback from losing Dante Robinson. But really, Ben Tate, your running game's already terrible. Get somebody else that's in there, I really thought they should have went after somebody a little bit, better on the running back position. But they didn't, and that kind of disappointed me a little bit. I was starting to get scared because they got Kareem Jackson, but I was thinking, hell, shit. They got him on the offensive side of the ball. We can still beat them that way.
Not really. I'm going to disagree a little bit, mainly because Ben Tate, he ran for 1,300 yards in a strong SEC conference, and Auburn really wasn't a threat too much to any of the top three teams anyway. But Ben Tate was one of the best available out there. I do agree that they needed a cornerback.
But think about it. They still had three running backs: Steve Slayton, Chris Brown, and Ryan Motes. They still have all three of those.
Well, they want a guy. They want a guy that's pretty much going to push them to get on the field because they're probably tired of Steve Slayton putting the ball on the ground. I mean, because he had like what 8 or 9 fumbles by himself.
Ryan Motes had one good game last year. One, and that was against the Niners.
Yeah. All right, and one of the teams I felt that had a horrible draft. Ooh, man, there was a lot of them. So I had to go. I'm gonna have to go with Jacksonville one. I'm gonna have to go with who else? I feel that Dallas didn't achieve what they really needed at first. I didn't feel that we needed a middle linebacker to start the second round. I would have went after a safety or at least an offensive tackle, not just a middle linebacker. I know Keith Brooks and Brady James are getting up there, but you get those kind of things later on in the draft or you sign a free agent. But in the third team, as far as the third team, I'm going to go with, other than Ryan Matthews, I felt San Diego really didn't pick up that much.
Chris.
Jags, of course, to me, Jags had the worst draft.
Tyson Alu.
this year.
How's he
Worst
a top
draft
10
weekend. Who else can I get out there? Titans really didn't show me anything. Titans didn't show me anything at all. Texans really didn't do too much for me. The Bears really didn't do too much for me either.
But the Bears got Daniel fever,
And you bought Major Ray.
so they got better.
He's not going to play.
You talking Major Ray?
No, Dan Lefevre is not going to play.
No, hell no. Trade me
He's not
to
going
the
to
Colts.
play.
We'll give you Curtis Payne.
Who else is it? There was
Did you
another
get my
team that
text
had a
there?
bad weekend.
Other than what? Detroit?
Redskins.
Redskins?
Redskins also had a bad weekend. Just bad weekend all around.
Wes.
Yeah, for me, definitely the Redskins is in my opinion because they had this momentum going into with all the pickup of Mike Shanahan. Really wanted to turn that franchise around, and then they'd show up for the draft. They look at the key issues they had, and they just fell apart. They didn't give anything that they really needed to work on. Also, another team I think did a terrible job was the Denver Broncos. I think trading up for Tim Tebow in the 15th or early mid 25th pick. And you're not even going to put him in the starting position in the first season?
Hell no.
He's getting $8 million for sitting on the bench for an entire season.
I'll take
That's completely
I'd take
bullcrap
it.
from the. Oh, I would take it too from a player standpoint, but from the organization, that's terrible. And it's just they didn't get anything on defense. It was trying to help them. Also, didn't have somebody to fill up for wide receiver. So it's just it did not help out very much.
Something that I tell you though, I do believe is that Tebow will be on the field this year. He may not start. But I think Josh McDaniels has that thing inside him that says, you know what, I'm going to bring somewhat of a wildcat offense or some kind of play package just for Tebow to get out there.
Well,
he's going to revamp some of that playbook for him, and that's going to happen. I mean, you got to figure out all the big four quarterbacks that played. The most set up to succeed right now has to be Tebow for next season, because Sam Bradford, sorry dude, you're getting hurt. So
they need to because they've been talking about.
I'm gonna love it.
They've been talking about Josh McDaniels getting kicked out of Denver just because this thing doesn't work out. So
it's going to have to be one of those. It has to work now, and it has to work in the next 2 years. Otherwise, he's done.
Speaking of the big four quarterbacks, another one, Jimmy Clausen, went to the Carolina Panthers, to the second round. How do you think about Clausen falling so far?
Oh, it doesn't matter. He's in a great spot.
He is.
Clausen is ready.
Very.
He is ready, and he has the
I think-
offense to do it.
And
I think he fell.
He has the offense to
I
do
think
it.
he fell because of the whole Brady Quinn effect. I have to say, Brady Quinn messed up Jimmy Clausen. Because, Brady Quinn was in that first season at Charlie Weiss, had a good season at Notre Dame, lost that ball game.
Got his ass beat.
And so, when he got drafted by Cleveland and still hadn't, basically started a game until this past season, they were looking like Jimmy Clausen's coming out. Why would we want somebody else that's just like Brady Quinn?
I believe there is no such thing as a first-round quarterback. That's
No.
what I believe. There's no such thing as a first-round quarterback.
Because most of the gyms could be coming in the 4th or 5th round.
No such thing.
Dan Lefevre!
Matt Ryan,
Hey,
it happened. There's a hit.
Dan
miss,
Lefevre!
but on average, there is
Peyton
no
Manning!
such thing as a first-round quarterback.
Peyton Manning was the first one.
no, another quarterback that's
Look
right
at his
after,
first year.
Yeah,
Colt
look
McCoy
at
and
him
the
now.
It
Browns.
doesn't matter about that. I'm talking about when you first draft them. You don't draft them for their first year.
that instant success.
You don't draft them for the first year. You draft them for second, third, fourth year on down the line.
Tom Brady. Well, he was second round.
But still,
Yeah.
down the line.
We'll be right back. I'm on the range. Stay tuned.